This video is sponsored by PotownStore.com, the place for all your Pokemon TCG online needs. Looking for some Rebel Clash boosters? No problem, they got your back and deliver the codes instantly. So definitely check them out at PotownStore.com and use the coupon code ZapDoseTCG for 5% of your next order. Also, if you're from Europe, be sure to check out CardMarket.com. This is the best place for you to get physical cards. You can buy cards from people all across Europe as well as sell cards yourself. It's the best platform for buying and selling physical cards in Europe, and I personally use it every single day. So be sure to check out the website if you haven't already, CardMarket.com. What's up YouTube, it's ZapDoseTCG here and welcome back to another TCG deck profile video on my channel. We are still exploring new decks that Darkness Ablaze will give us. That's this one on the list, Salamence V Max. Just because you guys asked for this, we could pair Salamence V Max with Welder, of course, but I'm a bigger fan of Porygon-Z. Porygon-Z is a card that from Broken Bonds that hasn't seen too much play. We've seen it before with Whimsicott GX, but I do think it has some capabilities, definitely because we get more and more special energies. And as we see on the bottom of this picture right here from the deck profile, is that we run a whole lot of different special energies. We had the new Powerful Colorless Energy does help out with damage output. But first of all, let's talk about Salamence V Max. It has, of course, the first attack. First, we are going to talk about Salamence V, which can actually smack 30 damage to every one of the opponent's Pokemon for just 3 colorless energies, and with of course the energy acceleration thanks to crazy code Porygon-Z, we can get that off in no time and then smack 30 damage on everything. The big downside is that people could tech Mew from Broken Bonds in their deck, but the good news is that I think the popularity of Pikarom will go down, which means not a lot of people will tech in that Mew from Broken Bonds, which means we can spread 30 damage on everything. That's why we're also running Mawile GX, so we can look at the opponent's hand and select any number of basic Pokemon. Sometimes that could be a bunch of Galarian Zigzagoons, definitely in the Eternatus V Max matchup. We can just use the Mawile, make sure that the opponent benches everything, which they probably will bench everything, but let's say they scoop up a certain amount of Pokemon, we can still use the Mawile to put them back on the bench, which is gonna help out a ton, because that way we can just use the attack of Salamence V for a couple of turns, 30 damage on everything, and we also run Galarian Zigzagoon of our own to be able to put some extra pressure on the bench, which can help out. Let's say we smack the attack 30 damage on everything and get it off twice. That means with Galarian Zigzagoon we can get multiple KOs in the late game, which I do like a lot. But don't sneeze on Salamence V Max, because yeah, its first attack does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, which is also very good, because 40 damage in combination with that first attack of Salamence V will pair up to 70 damage in total, which is enough to get Jirachis, Galarian Zigzagoons, and even a weaker basic Pokemon, which is awesome. And then the max wing attack is smacking 240 damage. We do need 4 colorless energy or just 1 attachment and a triple accelerated energy, because we are an evolution Pokemon. Salamence V Max can of course abuse triple accelerated energy. So the preferred way you go about this is get a triple accelerated energy onto Salamence V Max as well as that powerful colorless energy, because as soon as we get powerful colorless energy on one of our colorless Pokemon, we actually smack an additional damage. Also, the reason why I do love this build over the Welder build is that we have an answer against the Decidueye. Decidueye is very annoying, having that crazy ability that walls us out. Then Porygon-Z can actually go in the offensive and take down those Pokemon, which is also a way this deck could turn out. I do love the Salamence V Max, that it is a weakness to lightning. That means like it's pretty okay. At the past it was pretty bad. You could also include Weak Guard energy if you are afraid of the lightning weakness, but without Thunder Mountain, without Zero Aura GX, and with of course without Electro Power, you don't have to be afraid all too much. Even like if they use Pikarom, they can only smack 150, or they can use the GX move, but then they waste their GX move, which entirely will not help them out. So the thing about Salamence V is you want to set up the Porygon as quickly as possible, just the Porygon, and then afterwards use the rare candy to go immediately into Porygon-Z, and Porygon-Z can accelerate as often as we like energies wherever we please. So with lots of switches and scoop up nets, we're definitely gonna never get stuck. And we can also abuse Hyper Potion, to be honest. I do love Hyper Potion because it discards 2 energies, and that means we can heal 120 damage. And with Recycle Energy, it pairs so well because Recycle Energy will go back to the hand, and then you can reattach that with Crazy Code. So the energies all have a specific amount of use. Also, Capture Energy will be able to find yourself the early game Porygon, or can also set yourself up with another Salamence V if you would so prefer. Also, with Capture Energy, let's say you have Capture Energy, you can also attach it. Find yourself Cramorant V and then attach all the other of the energies, because Cramorant V is very good in this deck. If you get Powerful Colorless Energy onto your Cramorant, you can snipe the active for more damage. For the bench damage, it does not count, but Cramorant V is very good sniping off Dedenne. Definitely if they do run Dedenne, I think Dedenne will still be powerful. We also run Dedenne of our own because sometimes you don't want to draw cards until you have 6 with Crobat. You'd rather want to use Dedenne to dig for certain stuff that you want. Okay. What else can I say about this deck is that I do love the fact that you can spread 30 damage on everything. It sets up the numbers quite well. Let's say you smack 30 damage on the second turn. You just go first and then you get your Porygon off. The second turn, you get Porygon-Z off, get some stuff up, and you smack 30 on everything. The good news is if Salamence goes down and it has Recycle Energy, you can get all the energies back, which you can then reattach with Porygon-Z. If the Salamence V survives, then you can just go for a Max Swing afterwards, and if the opponent already has 30 damage on them, and you rely on some Powerful Colorless Energy and maybe some Zigzagoon snipes, you can definitely get it going. Maybe you can cut down like a switch card for another Scoop Up Net, but I do find myself sometimes stranding in the active position with one of our Pokemon like Galarian, Zigzagoon, Mawile, Dedenne, Crobat. Sometimes it happens from time to time. So, with this deck, we're gonna set up Porygon-Z as quickly as possible and then get the energies, the required energy for Salamence V Max. Support Pokemon, we have Crobat and Dedenne. You can choose between either of them. Maybe you prefer 2 copies of Dedenne. Maybe you prefer 2 copies of Crobat because you don't want to discard some stuff. But I'm still a big fan of those late games where they Marnie you and you can get yourself Dedenne to get out of that. And Galarian Zigzagoon, very good. As mentioned, if you find room for it, you can add in a 4th Scoop Up Net, which does help out with the numbers. Mawile GX is technically my 4th Scoop Up Net. I use Mawile, smack that down, maybe get an opponent off guard and they have to slap down their Dedenne or whatever. We can use Boss's Orders for game afterwards, which also can be the case, because you can get some cheeky KOs with, of course, 30 on everything. Professor's Research is our main supporter, then 3 copies of Marnie, and also 1 copy of Erica's Hospitality, because if you're up against, let's say, Eternatus, they have a huge bench because they try and want to go for the one-shot. Well, if you use Erica at a specific time, you draw so much cards that you can get your Porygon off in no time. Then only 2 copies of Boss's Orders, because we have so much capabilities of spreading to the bench. 2 copies is sufficient. 4 copies of Quick Ball and 4 copies of Communication. You might even try and get a split line between Evolution and Sense, but with so many Pokemon that we're running, because we also run some tech cards like Galarian Zigzagoon and the Mawile GX, I think Communication is a little bit better than Evolution and Sense, because Communication can also get your Dedenne out or your Crobat V. And yeah, a good thing about this kind of list is that you can abuse Cramorant V to just also take your cheeky prize cards on things like Dedenne. If you want to have a bigger approach, maybe you can play something like Reset Stamp and the Double V with Powerful Colorless Energy is also very nice, but I opted to go for the Zigzagoon package instead. So, without being said, we have 4 copies of Switch and 3 copies of Scoop Up Net. I'm not too sure about the numbers just yet. Maybe you want to include stuff like Jirachi in here, because Jirachi can also help finding those rare candies. Maybe you can get like a Switch and maybe another card for that Jirachi, but I opted to go for some healing cards in the form of Hyper Potion, because Hyper Potion is so busted. You can use Hyper Potion healing up 120 damage, then you discard 2 energies, but yeah, if they're Recycle Energies, you can reattach them instantly with the Crazy Code ability of Porygon-Z. Then we have 3 rare candy to be able to evolve into Porygon-Z. This list is a little bit fragile. If I had to say, like, the most terrible matchup is going to be a deck that relies on Vikavolt V that uses the item lock. Not only are they hitting for weakness, that means we also cannot get our Porygon-Z out. So that is going to be kind of like an auto loss, but I don't expect Vikavolt V to be the best deck in format because, yeah, Thunder Mountain is gone, that's for sure, and also Electro Power is gone, so getting the numbers with Vikavolt V is a little bit difficult. So I don't know, it could be the case, but it's an auto loss. We'll take that against other matches, like let's say the Centiskorch smacks you with 160 damage or whatever, typically. Well, you can just use Hyper Potion, heal off all that damage, and that means they will still have to go through a 320 HP Pokemon that already has 40 damage, but sometimes they whiff on their one-hit KO afterwards, and then we KO them, which is awesome. So the Hyper Potions, I do love them very much. And then we also have Chaotic Swell, As mentioned before, you want to bump that annoying stadium card in the form of Black Market, Wanderer's Labyrinth. We don't have that much of an issue with Wanderer's Labyrinth, but mainly for the black market, if people try out Spiritomb, an updated list, you definitely want to bump these stadium cards for sure. And then for the energies, there's a whole lot of energies in here. We're gonna start with Powerful Colorless Energy. This is the best energy you can have because you smack 20 extra damage. If you get that to Salamence V, you smack 50 on the active, 30 on the rest. Awesome. If you can get that to Salamence V Max, your damage becomes, let's say you get 2 of them equipped, you smack 280 damage, and that's not even including Galarian Zigzagoon snipe damage. So you can even shook up the list a little bit to your liking, but I do love Powerful Colorless Energy in this list. Triple Accelerated Energy, you don't always need it, but it is necessary. Sometimes they go after your Porygon-Z, it's knocked out, but some of your energies still stick on your Salamence V Max. Then you can just attach the Triple Accelerated Energy and then go crazy and attack once more. Also, the switches are needed because with Max Wing, we are going to be stuck if, we cannot use that attack during our upcoming turn, so that's why there's more switches than Scoop Up Nets for the people that were wondering. Then 3 copies of Recycle Energy. I would love to buff this up to a 4 count, but I find it so hard to find slots for all these specific amount of energies, and then 2 copies of Capture Energy, which helps us out to get Porygon. We do have 4 Quick Ball, 4 Communication, and 2 Capture Energy, so finding that early game Porygon will be not a problem at all. So this is the list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to mouse the like button. Let me know which deck profile you want to see up next. This was a suggestion, by the way. So Salamence V Max, Porygon-Z, try it out for yourself and let me know how you feel about the list. Are you going to change up some cards? What do you think about the meta? Will we still see some lightning? I love to hear your opinions down below. Destroy the like button if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next video very shortly. Thanks again for tuning in. Peace out.